Hey, everybody.
Hi, guys. Well, from Salt Lake City, Utah,
It's Thank God I'm Atheist.
the podcast.
I'm Frank.
And I am Dan.
And coming up today,
Oh, there was a death.
there's been a death at LDS corporate offices.
Mm-hmm.
So, I am usually the last person to dance on a grave, Dan.
Oh, okay.
I've saved a place in the darker portions of my heart for certain people.
Right.
This
This one's a dance-worthy grave.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, I think so.
We're going to revel a little in a death today.
Which is a terrible thing, but this one,
Nah,
it's not.
I'm pretty
It's
happy.
just not.
I'm
sadly.
pretty fine with it.
Sadly, someone lived their life in a way that makes me happy when they're no longer living that life.
Yes, indeed.
Well, all right, Dan.
Let's begin with an interesting story that I've got coming out of India. It's not really a story. It's it's an ongoing question.
Okay.
Which is to say, India is now grappling with the same issues that are sort of around the world right now, and one of the main ones is that of homosexuality.
I'm not familiar with that.
Oh, sorry, I mean gays. So there's a big question, right? Because the main religion of India is Hinduism. Now,
Yeah.
Frank, what is Hinduism's take on homosexuality?
I would think that the sort of the traditional old-timey Hinduism probably didn't have much to say about it, but that the new, like, modern Hindus have figured out how to be anti-gay.
You're pretty close. You're
Really?
pretty good.
Okay.
I mean, so here's the thing. You're right that Hinduism, as a religion, hasn't. I mean, first of all, it's not a dogmatic religion,
Right.
In general,
Right.
It's not one that has like rules about things.
Ooh, I bet British colonialism plays a part in this.
Oh,
Did I figure?
well, some people are saying would make that claim.
Okay,
Absolutely.
Okay.
So it's tricky, right? Because the Vedas, which are sort of Hindu texts, do list things like who was it that pointed this out? Anyway, someone pointed out that there was a Veda that does talk about a punishment.
I love a Veda.
not hair care product. One of the
Wait, what are you talking about?
One of the Vedas talks about punishment for homosexuality.
Okay.
But it's a very, very like the penalty, I guess, is to like taking a ritual bath for purification. Whereas
sounds awful.
Whereas there's a punishment for adultery that's like death. So
up there on sort of
it seems like gay sex is like on a par with, stealing an apple off of your neighbor's tree.
Right. Or menstruating.
Right. Well, if you're Christian, maybe so. Yeah. Or if you're just yucky. If you just smell
That happens.
Smell pretty bad. It's
There are those who need to bathe.
time to take the holy dip, as my Indian guide said when we were discussing the ritual.
That was his. That's what he called
the holy dip.
bathing?
They are taking the holy dip
Okay.
in the Ganges River or Maganga,
So
So,
kind of not a problem.
according to the old, but now they're
deal.
getting all
Not a big
uppity,
deal.
and here's the problem: gay people are getting the shit beat out of them in India.
Are they?
All over India, like there's a lot of violence toward gay people. There's a lot of opposition.
I didn't know that.
And there's a lot of Hindus who use other Vedas. This is so weird because you'd never think that this could happen. But there are people on both sides of the issue using their spiritual texts to support their own position. I've never heard of that happening.
Wow.
It's so weird. It's almost like any spiritual text can be used in any way that you want.
Well, yeah.
Like, there are guys who are saying that homosexuality is not natural, which I don't know where that claim comes from, but they're claiming it.
They love that claim.
They love that claim. And there is a Veda that says what translates roughly to what seems unnatural is natural. So maybe it tolerates maybe Hinduism tolerates gays, but then other people are saying no, it doesn't tolerate. It's an ongoing thing.
But
I
think people pull human beings out of nature just a little too much.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, I don't care if you could find it in nature or not, which of course you can.
Yeah. All
but
over.
if we just have the inclination to fool around with members of the same sex,
who the fuck cares?
Who cares?
Who cares?
It naturally happens within the human population. It's natural.
Right. Yeah. Look, if no other animal, I mean, almost all species have homosexuality, but if no other species but humanity had homosexuality, so?
Yeah. So the fuck what?
Then it's natural for humans. It may not be natural for anything else. And yet what's natural for us is natural because we are part of nature. Because we are animals. Oh my God. Anyway, it's just an interesting ongoing question and one that I hadn't even stopped to think about. But you remember that back in 2013, India's there was a 2009 High Court decision that said same-sex sexual conduct was a criminal offense, and then that was reversed, and then it was re-reversed. I
remember this now. Yeah.
So like, there's still it's just interesting because we think of Hinduism and Buddhism as these sort of tolerant religions that just are sort of
harmless
and non-dogmatic. How can a non-dogmatic religion have a stance on an issue?
Right.
But it can, and they do.
Right.
It just depends on which guru you're talking to.
Yeah.
You may have climbed the wrong damn mountain. And that's where we stand. All right, let's move on.
All right. Well, I'm going to actually continue with the Hindus. They have joined a group of people who are all looking to add their own distinct voice to the Arkansas Capitol grounds. This is in response, of course, to Arkansas allowing a Ten Commandments monument.
Oh, yeah.
Much like Oklahoma.
Right.
In fact, Arkansas modeled their law after Oklahoma's law.
Right.
Probably not fully aware that Oklahoma had a constitutional or a line in their constitution that made it not really that kosher.
Right.
Maybe
not for long.
Well, but that's an interesting thing. There's now a real push in Oklahoma to just change their constitution.
That's going to be a tough road to hoe, but I'll bet they can do it.
I don't think it'll be tough at all in that state.
Yeah.
I think it'll just be a matter of going through the legal process
of changing it.
It should just fly through.
Right.
And that's the thing about state constitutions. Nobody thinks that they're sacred in the way that they think the U.S. Constitution's sacred.
Right.
Like nobody was going to be like, but our founding father, but the Guthries, they didn't want that in there. Or whoever. I just pulled a name out of the hat.
Yes, indeed.
There's a town in Oklahoma called Guthrie.
Well, I assume
it was the first state capital, actually.
Oh, wow.
So, anyway.
When Joseph P. Oklahoma founded this state. Anyway,
the Oklahoma clan. They're good people, the Oklahomans.
They are. They came over on the Mayflower,
the Oklahomas.
Yes.
Yeah. Anywho, the Hindus are being joined by the vegans.
Oh, what?
Who would like to hang a banner featuring vegetables on the Capitol grounds.
Oh, my God. Floodgates opened.
Oh, PETA. Where did you go so right and so wrong?
Vegetables on the steak. Well, I mean, what's to object to there? It's it's not exactly the Satanic Temple.
No. However, Satanic Temple, I think, is joining this whole thing as well. As well as, who were the other ones? The Church of the Latter-day Dude. People are hoping that they join in because they were threatening to do something in Oklahoma, and also the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster.
Right.
But they neither has officially stated yet that they are going to get involved in the Arkansas situation. Currently on the Arkansas state grounds are the monument to the Ten Commandments.
Okay.
As well as a monument to the Little Rock Nine, the group of teenagers back in 1957 who were escorted into Central High School to integrate the school.
Yes, indeed.
And so there's a very deserved monument
to that.
A social progress.
Yes.
Commemorating
commemorating that state's begrudging march into the 20th century.
Well, no, that's not what it's commemorating. If that's what it was, you'd have a whole bunch of men with their arms folded and pursed lips.
I feel like those are implied. I feel like that is just sort of the implied part of the thing.
Yeah. There was a line in here that made me really, really, really giggle. It's not actually that great. It just made me laugh. This journalist's description of the Baphomet. A demonic goat-headed figure with horns, hooves, wings, and a beard. All terrifying things. Yes,
terrifying. And a welcoming lap to sit on.
Yeah. They didn't mention how benign the whole statue is.
Or the fresh-faced children looking up in lovingly at him. Yeah.
So anywho, that's happening in Arkansas. I thought everybody might want to know.
Well, there you go. I'm going to switch over to Texas.
Oh yeah,
where Baylor University exists. It's a private Baptist institution in the great state of Texas.
Where is it?
Baylor,
Texas.
It's in Texas.
It's in Texas.
You didn't know that? Of course, it's Texas. Is it in Waco?
Oh, I hope nothing. Besides,
I think you and I drove right past Baylor.
I hope the only thing that's from Waco are the Davidians and Dr. Pepper.
I think you and I drove right past Baylor. Now I'm remembering. We drove right past some university, and I remember thinking, oh, that's where that is. Might have been Baylor.
It's a pretty big state.
Anyway, it is a Baptist. Well, yeah, but we were in Waco. Waco's not big.
Okay.
Anyway, so at Baylor University,
yes,
which, as I said, is a Baptist university.
Yes.
They have removed a small phrase from their sexual misconduct policy.
Oh, dear God.
It no longer includes the phrase homosexual acts among its banned activities. However, so here's what it does say. It says, Baylor will be guided by the biblical understanding that human sexuality is a gift from God and that physical sexual intimacy is to be expressed in the context of marital fidelity. Thus, it is expected that Baylor students, faculty, and staff will engage in behaviors consistent with this understanding of human sexuality. Now, here's the dealio.
Yeah.
This brings up a big question because they're saying it's to be expressed within the context of marital fidelity.
So are they okay with a gay couple
that
who's
is married
doing homosexual acts?
Well, they won't say.
What?
So, they were asked about that, and spokeswoman Lori Fogelman dodged that question.
Really?
She said that these changes were made because we didn't believe the language reflected the university's caring community. But when pressed as to whether the policy opens the door for married same-sex couples, which can happen in Texas now,
Yeah.
they dodged. So I don't know what that means, but I mean, it's interesting that came out. I don't know. I mean, one is skeptical that a gay couple would do well on the Baylor campus.
Who can say?
If nothing else, culturally, I feel like they would hit some roadblocks.
Maybe. It's possible. Interesting.
So,
Interesting.
but she also, one of the things that she did say was that their policy is to be interpreted in a manner consistent with the Baptist faith and message
there you go.
of 1963. Do you think that's going to be warm
Yeah.
to those homosexuals?
Okay. No. There's your answer right there.
Yeah.
But what they're doing is they are I actually don't know what they're up to. If they're not actually saying, yeah, okay, come and have your gay sex if you're married and we don't care. If that's what they're saying, then it doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
It seems like they're probably just wanting to avoid the appearance of being archaic while still just letting sort of Baptist culture reign.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I'm with you. Although I feel like it says something about the culture of our country that they did anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
That they felt the need to because all they had to do was just not do anything.
And it would have been a while before there was any attention.
Apparently like 2 years ago, there was the student senate passed a resolution advocating for them to drop the words homosexual acts and replace it with this might be a typo, but deviate as opposed to deviate sexual intercourse.
Probably deviant.
Anyway, I don't know how that's a helpful thing. That was vetoed by the student body president.
Well, that just confuses me.
Yeah.
Okay, deviant for whom?
Right, exactly. I know plenty of couples. Well, I don't know plenty of couples, but I know that there are couples for whom oral sex would be deviant.
Yeah,
So,
if they're from the 1950s.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Huh. Interesting.
that just confuses the matter, which is why it's good that it was vetoed.
Yeah,
Anyway.
indeed. All right. I would like to do an update.
I thought you were going to bear your testimony.
I'd like to bear my testimony about the first Church of Cannabis.
Oh,
And how
you know that church is.
the pod is true.
I know the weed is kind.
Apparently, they've had their first meeting, like they threatened that they would.
Mm-hmm.
However, the sort of the pivotal threat of the entire thing was that they were going to smoke pot.
Right.
During their first meeting.
This is in Indiana? Is that what?
Indianapolis.
Yeah.
Indiana.
Yeah.
They had about 100 people show up for their first services.
Mm-hmm.
And in addition to that, about 20 police officers armed and ready to sniff out and arrest anyone caught smoking pot.
Okay.
But I have to say there are pictures.
To clarify, this is not one of the 5 or so states in the union that has legalized the smoking of marijuana.
No. What the first Church of Cannabis is doing is they're taking advantage of Indiana's Religious Freedom Restoration Act or law or whatever that they passed not too long ago that led to the infamous pizza parlor fiasco,
right?
Where the owners of that pizza parlor in a small Indiana town were asked if they would consider catering a gay wedding.
Were they even asked? I think they just blurted.
No, the initial ones were asked, and then you had all the people hopping on to the issue.
Yeah,
business owners who started just announcing it. But nonetheless, so this is in response to that. It's saying, well, if they get to pick laws that they don't want to follow,
right, because
and
of their
use their
deeply held
religion as their defense, then we should make a church where smoking pot is the central sacrament of the church.
Right.
And then we're fine.
Yeah.
Right?
What are you going to do about it, coppers?
Well, they would throw the book at them, apparently.
Oh, okay.
But nonetheless, what I wanted to bring up was, I guess I didn't know what to expect. I guess I thought that it was going to be much more of a stunt than a legitimate religious exercise.
Sure.
What I'm seeing here, it's a lot of people having fun, but it's people going to church. And it looks like a fun church. There's the picture that I have right here sort of focuses in on two middle-aged women in tie-dyed, hippy-dippy clothing.
There's a shock.
One of them has what is it called? A shakere or a shakere?
Shakira?
The gourd, the hollowed out dried gourd with the beads.
Oh, I don't know.
And you've seen this.
I mean,
thing.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that thing.
Little shaky.
It makes a little sound, right? And the other woman is holding a triangle, so they're having a great time.
Oh yeah, they're making rhythmic music.
Yes. And the founder, I thought that it was going to be. His age was never reported.
You assume some young pothead?
Some young pothead. No, he's an old pothead.
Oh.
He's an old pothead.
Although that guy, who knows, he could be prematurely wrinkled from all of the various and sundry ingestibles or whatever.
With his platinum colored hair.
His white shock of hair that's
dyed, that's bleached. Look at his roots.
It's not combed or anything.
No, it's wild.
He looks kind of like a Muppet. Anyway,
I just wanted to bring that all up.
So nobody smoked?
Nobody smoked.
That's bullshit.
Well, so they are now suing the state to ensure the right to smoke.
No, they're going backwards. Somebody's got to get arrested.
I know.
And then you sue the state for damages.
But right now they're being prevented from enacting carrying out their sacrament by the state. The state's prohibiting them from carrying out I know, you're right. It's a better lawsuit if
somebody just smokes up and gets arrested.
Their religious freedom.
Right.
And then they get arrested.
Boy, they're gonna feel dumb if they go through all of this effort and then suddenly because the movement is afoot to make it nationally okay.
Yeah.
Marijuana.
Yeah.
So they're going to go through all of this time and effort and spend a lot of money and then suddenly it's just going to be legal.
Yeah,
and they're going to be like, whoa.
Look at these guys. They're having a good time doing it though.
They are.
Look at them.
They are, but the question is, do they continue to go to that church after it's legal nationwide?
Oh dear God, no. No. But here's the deal. I will say this seems to be like when the Satanists, right, threaten to put up a Baphomet, or when they distribute their coloring book to schools,
Yeah.
it seems that's not what they're really trying to do. They're trying to highlight the absurdity of these laws and the absurdity of just the current religious situation in the United States.
Right.
These people just want to smoke pot. There really is no deeper concern for our culture at large, from what I can tell and gather from this collection of people and the statements. These are very earnest people about. They think they've found a loophole to smoke pot,
right?
And that's all this is about.
Yeah.
I can delight in it, but unfortunately, there's no sort of greater thought process in the whole thing. So, but nonetheless.
Well, okay, we're going to move along. I'm going to talk to you about what Mother Jones called America's worst police force. Skun dun dun.
Oh, no.
But I'm not going to talk about any of the stuff that Mother Jones talked about.
Okay.
We're in sunny Puerto Rico now, which, in case anyone's confused, is...
And that's where the worst police force is?
Well, yeah, apparently they're very violent and they're very, blah, blah, blah. But that's not what we're going to hear to talk about. We're going to talk about their softer side, which is just as bad.
Okay.
Apparently there's been a complaint filed by the Ateístas de Puerto Rico, the atheists of Puerto Rico.
Good for them.
They filed a complaint because apparently, I got this off of the, I was tipped off on the members only lounge about this one.
Okay.
They were road blocking, and as cars went through, they were proselytizing.
The police.
Offering to pray with the drivers, offering words of faith to the drivers. Even, I believe, brochures and pamphlets.
Like Catholic shit?
Just Jesus shit in general.
That's just weird.
It's so weird. And also against both the Constitution of Puerto Rico and the Constitution of the United States of America, which is in play in Puerto Rico.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So,
what?
Yeah, using government-owned vehicles and, essentially probably on duty.
Right.
And then just distributing propaganda and praying at people.
Very strange. Wow. Yeah. So good for the atheists down there. That's that needs to be cleaned up.
Yeah. Something tells me that's not going to go too well for the atheists. But my God, if something needs to be done, if that's them being on their good behavior, we're in trouble.
Well, we aren't.
No, we aren't.
Unfortunately, people in Puerto Rico are.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I think American atheists didn't they just meet in Puerto Rico, or they're going to, or something?
They either just did or they're going to.
Yeah.
I can't remember which one it is. Well, all right. That's a good little update. What is there anything we can do to help?
Yes. Everyone, all you atheists out there, go join the Puerto Rican police force. Let's fight this from within. Let's solve this from within.
I was serious, Dan, and you just... Wow,
you weren't serious.
Thank you, Dan. Wow. All right. Well, I'd like to go on to a story about an unlikely place for comedy. If you ask my opinion.
Okay.
Which would be on a Saudi Arabian television station. At least not good comedy.
I think there'd be plenty of comedy for me. I think I would see things that I find comedic.
I definitely wouldn't think of dark comedy that makes fun of some of the region's most serious issues, such as the brutality of the Islamic State, the finding humor in the Sunni-Shiite divide.
I don't know. That's so much fun.
Apparently, I think we are in Ramadan, yes?
It may still be going on.
I've been seeing stories about Ramadan. Apparently Ramadan is like sweeps month in Saudi Arabia. It's a peak television viewing time.
Everybody's got to distract themselves from how hungry they are.
Yeah, and the horror of their religion.
Yeah.
So this is also Saudi comedian Nasser Al-Kasabi. This is a picture of him, Dan.
Okay.
Not a funny looking guy.
He just looks like he looks like Yasser Arafat's brother. He's wearing the same outfit.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I want to kind of go through some descriptions of these sketches that he does. It's a sketch comedy show.
Okay.
Starring him, and I have to say, some of it I would really like to see. He said So in one of the more recent shows, Al-Kasabi plays a would-be caliph, caliph, starting his own ISIS-style militia, but he's surrounded by buffoons and hypocrites.
Oh, it's so hard to start a good militia these days.
His mufti, or top cleric, never finished school. He struggles to find ways to make his group stand out. Their flag is the same as that of ISIS, but with the black and white colors flipped.
I see.
See, clever. So when one of his cronies boasts that he's planning a mass beheading, the caliph complains that he wants a new form of execution. He says, behead, that's all you got? And he suggests that the captives be put in a freezer.
Oh my God!
So that's one of them. It's apparently wildly popular, even though it's been denounced by clerics.
Wow.
Yeah, kind of crazy. In another episode, two Saudi men meet at an airport in Europe and bond over their love of women, alcohol, and hard partying.
What?
Isn't that amazing, right? And this is on television in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
Though neither is religious, their budding friendship takes a nosedive when they discover that one is Sunni and the other is Shiite.
Oh, that's funny.
That's funny.
That's actually really funny.
And then they argue until the airport security arrests them.
Okay.
Yeah, that one actually made me laugh out loud.
I'm giving it to him.
I LOL'd all over that one this morning.
I'm actually impressed.
Yeah.
I thought my first thought was like, oh, wow, it's so edgy. They like women and booze.
No. In a more serious episode, let's see. There's one about, it's a father who is worried about his son who's gone off to fight in Syria for ISIS. And so he, in secret, joins the militant group and tries to avoid doing any atrocities while trying to find his son.
Wow.
And he fights off the advances of a militant bride who is forced on him by the group and who has dedicated her life to pleasing jihadis as a means of going to heaven.
Wow.
So he's truly tackling the issues. He's had death threats from ISIS sympathizers.
It seems to me like in Saudi Arabia, it's super easy to get death threats.
And it's probably also super easy to get away with a lot while making fun of ISIS.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that's interesting.
Because Saudi Arabia clearly is terrified of ISIS. But anyway, the name of the show is Selfie, which I thought was actually a clever name.
Selfie.
He's taking a selfie of Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder what selfie translates to in Arabic.
Al selfie.
I think you nailed it. I think you got it. We can move on. Well, if you guys have anything to say about any of these stories that we've talked about, please, you can email us. You can write to us at podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or you can leave us a voicemail message. The number is 424-666-8442.
I was just going to point out, I think now that we have like a lot of online venues for people to sort of vent their spleen and stuff with other TGIA listeners, people aren't writing into us very much anymore.
Nor leaving voicemail messages.
Yeah.
Do you think well, shut it down?
I'm closing.
Shut it down.
You guys
Dan.
don't start writing and calling us. We're going to just close all of the Facebook stuff.
This show is the number one priority, people.
Yeah. Will you guys get your act together? Anyway, if you want to participate in one of those heathen online activities, you can go to facebook.com and like our Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist.
And of course, also on Facebook, there is the TGIA Members Only Lounge.
It's getting unruly in
You
there.
have to search for it.
Yeah.
And then request to join the group, and then you'll be let in.
Yeah.
So
yeah. There you go.
That makes it nice. It makes it private for you that way.
Yeah, nobody knows what it is unless they're one of us.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we're going to take a quick little break. While we're breaking, we're going to listen to one Mr. Brian Fisher, who he's still bothered by all the new gay rights developments in the country.
I feel so bad for him.
This is behavior we shouldn't be facilitating. We shouldn't be encouraging any more than we ought to be encouraging, promoting, celebrating, holding big rallies in favor of smoking. Everybody understands cigarette smoking is not good for you. It's not healthy. People are going to do it. We understand that. We accept it. But there's nobody that says this is healthy, this is normal, this is a perfectly acceptable alternative to non-smoking. And so we spend billions of dollars. We won't let people advertise where children can see it. Ought to be doing exactly the same thing with homosexuality. That's what Russia is doing. You can't propagandize youth in Russia because they don't want the youth of Russia to grow up thinking this is a normal alternative to heterosexuality. And homosexuality is not even against the law in Russia, just like smoking is not against the law in America. But we do the same thing. We do not allow the propagandizing of America's young to think that there's something glamorous and exciting and healthy about cigarette smoking. Well, if we're gonna be concerned across the board about human health, then we ought to have exactly the same concern for people that are considering going into the homosexual lifestyle. Let's talk them out of it. Let's persuade them against it. Let's reduce.
Did anybody point out to him that he just advocated for the Russian way of doing things?
The Ruskies.
Oh, you know where they got it right. You know where they're doing everything right in the world? Russia. You know what we need to be more like?
I don't think that there's probably ever really been a time that's been the right argument.
I mean, you don't think the Tsarist thing was cool?
Tsarist wasn't cool. Soviet Russia wasn't cool. I mean, they had a good space program. They could build a rocket.
Oh, those fuckers.
They were good at that.
They can. Hey, we're using their rockets now. Half of our people that are going up into the space station are hitching rides on Russians' rockets.
That's true. We've given up.
Yeah.
I mean, we're letting private enterprise.
We won't fund it anymore. Well, that's the thing. We won't fund it. So,
right. So
anyway,
make it profitable. That's what they're trying to do now. But Brian Fisher. I don't know about that. And first of all, fuck you, Brian Fisher.
It's funny because what he's calling propaganda, again, like pro-gay propaganda,
right,
is just the culture talking about what it likes now.
Yeah.
That's the the media being all like pro-gay. No, that's just reflecting the culture the way the media always does.
If you're going to change the culture now, you have to have anti-gay propaganda.
Right. That's what he wants. Nice. He thinks that he's anti-pro-gay propaganda. Anti-pro.
Yeah, that's good. No, that's good.
But no. Yeah, he's gonna have to. He is the anti-gay propaganda.
Hist.
That's what he does. That is his job.
Yeah, in his little golf shirt.
So speaking of anti-gay,
yeah.
Bye-bye, Boyd.
Often also called Boyd KKK Packer.
Or, as I like to call him, Boyd Fudge Packer.
Dan.
Because that would have made him upset.
Yeah, that would have.
A man died. He was at the time of his death the next in line to be the prophet and president of the LDS Church.
Yes.
He will never get to be that.
No,
now that
he died.
Now that he's deed.
He did his claw-like hands lost their grip on this mortal coil.
Yeah. And
and he slipped to the other side.
His voice.
He passed through the veil. And is now spending his days with our Heavenly Father.
With our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ on the right hand of God.
Yes, he's there. He's taken his rightful place.
Yeah.
His own throne in heaven.
Okay. It's funny. I got a text on the day that it happened that simply had a GIF. I use the hard G. I know I'm supposed to use the soft J.
Whatever, nobody cares.
Anyway, a GIF of Wizard of Oz, and it just said, "Ding dong, the witch is dead." The reason that we are delighting in the death of a man, which seems a little unsavory,
It's not our normal thing.
is that this guy fucked with us.
Yeah.
When we were young.
Yeah.
You more than me, Frank, but
he got to you too.
He got me too.
He in 1976 he gave a very famous speech called "To Young Men Only" is what it ended up being called. It was given during the General Conference priesthood session. We'll get to that in a minute if we still have other things to say about Boyd KKK Packer, which is always it's a little unfair to call him that. He was not a member of the KKK.
No,
he never was really that overtly racist.
Well,
yeah, I guess
he was racist.
He was racist.
He was. I mean, the guy died at 90, so you know.
Yeah,
he was a racist man.
Yeah. But anyway. So yeah, but yeah, this little talk he gave, which fucked with some people.
Yeah, it kind of turned into, somehow it became like the go-to text that you say to your young Mormon boy as he slowly journeys into young Mormon manhood.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that he basically took an old school, almost sort of birds and the bees fashioned talk that you give to, that you would have given to your son when he was 17 in the 1950s. No, son. No.
I don't know if you have any questions
on his wedding night.
You sit him down and you talk to him about it as though he hasn't already participated. But anyway,
but nonetheless, I mean, that's basically how it was fashioned. He uses a lot of metaphor for everything that he's talking about.
Why don't you give us a slice? Cut out a slice of this pie for us, and and let us know what we're talking about. What are we getting into here?
Let's see. Well, I mean, he starts off with he basically starts the whole thing off as you need to be proud, never be ashamed of your body. Actually, I don't think he says be proud of your body. He says don't be ashamed of your body.
Just be ashamed of what you do to it.
Some young men worry because they think their body is not well proportioned. They think they are too small or too tall or too stout or too thin or too something else. And he says that it has little to do, none of that has anything to do with success or spiritual success.
So all that, so far so good.
So far so good.
Be comfortable with who you are.
He says, and don't harm your body. Don't use tobacco, alcohol, drugs, or other harmful substances.
Right.
A young man should learn to rule his body. Like his temper, he should keep it always under control. And it's not always easy to do, he admits.
Sure.
And then he gets to the good stuff. He talks about the power of creation. And that you should use your righteous expression of physical love in a marriage. And as approved by the Lord, and that your wife may conceive and give birth to a girl or a boy.
And nothing else.
Nothing else. No hermaphrodites here. No ands, ors. So anyway, so he proceeds. He talks about.
See, this is the talk. I mean, you find some good stuff. This is the talk where
this is the little factory.
He invented the concept of the little factory.
Yes. So he says, I wish to explain something that will help you understand your young manhood and help you develop self-control. When this power begins to form, it might be likened to having a little factory in your body, one designed to produce the product that can generate life.
Right.
Is everybody on the same page with me here? Do you know what we're talking about, right?
Balls. They're making cum.
Oh, God. He should have been more explicit.
Yeah.
I had no clue what he was talking about.
Yeah, little factory.
This little factory moves quietly
talking about
into
poop?
operation as a normal and expected pattern of growth and begins to produce the life-giving substance. It will do so perhaps as long as you live. It works very slowly. That is the way it should be. For the most part, unless you tamper with it, you will hardly be aware that it is working at all.
Don't tamper.
As you move closer to manhood, this little factory will sometimes produce an oversupply of this substance. The Lord has provided a way for it to be released. It will happen without any help or without any resistance from you. Perhaps one night you will have a dream. In the course of it, the release valve that controls the factory will open and release all that is excess. The factory and automatic release work on their own schedule. The Lord intended it to be that way. It is to regulate itself. This will not happen very often. You may go a long period of time, and there will be no need for this to occur. When it does, you should not feel guilty. It is the nature of young manhood and is part of becoming a man.
I just imagine, like, as he's diving into this whole speech, there are all of these men, like adult men, sitting next to their sons who suddenly just like start squirming a little.
Oh, there was squirming.
And then there was like more squirming and then shuffling in the seats and then just looking over at their son uncomfortably and like, oh, Jesus, what are you doing to me, Packer?
Those wood benches in the tabernacle were starting to creak.
Oh, yeah.
A lot.
Oh, yeah. Now, mind, so yes, he was talking about, so he got to the point of, what he's saying is, don't masturbate. You don't get to masturbate.
Well, and he says that that sometimes a young man might be encouraged by friends, basically, to fondle himself and open the release valve. Mm-hmm. You shouldn't do this, he says, of course, because the little factory will speed up. You'll be tempted again and again to release it. He's saying basically if you don't masturbate, then you won't have the temptation.
It'll just go away peacefully, which is such bullshit.
Absolute bullshit.
He's just too old to remember being a young guy. That was the problem. Because any teenager boy will be able to tell you, believe me, I tried to stop masturbating. I like
over and over and over and over.
There was one period where I went for like a few months.
Wow.
And I didn't masturbate. And it was the worst time of my life.
Right.
It was a nightmare. All I could think about, I was obsessed with sex. And it'd just be like, no, I'm not going to do it. And then finally when I did it, oh, it was the most amazing thing. Oh, I was so happy.
Yeah.
And then so guilty. And then so fucking guilty. I hated myself. I thought I was the worst person ever. I cried.
I don't know if this is the first time that Packer, or if Packer was the first person to suggest singing a hymn. He's the one who's like, pick out a hymn, hum the music inwardly. You can redirect your thoughts, right? Is what he's
and that became like a mantra.
Oh yeah,
like young men on their mission. Sing a hymn, elder.
Yeah,
sing a hymn.
Yeah. And then he tells the story of a time when he was meeting with a missionary. I don't think he was a mission president. I think he was a general authority by this point. He was just he'd visited a mission and was having sit down interviews with a few of the missionaries, right?
General authority is a church-wide position. It's a very high up position.
And he says, while I was in a mission on one occasion, a missionary said that he had something to confess. I was very worried because he just could not get himself to tell me what he had done. After patient encouragement, he finally blurted out, "I hit my companion." "Oh, is that all?" I said in great relief. "But I floored him," he said. After learning a little more, my response was, "Well, thanks. Somebody had to do it, and it wouldn't be well for a general authority to solve the problem that way.
Wait, so what was the problem?
His mission companion had advanced on him.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, well, yeah.
I don't think you had gotten to that.
He had just told a story. Yeah. So, yeah.
So not only advocating against homosexuality,
Yes.
but advocating for, or at least condoning, the physical violence.
Yes.
Towards the gays.
Yeah. This wasn't just the guy rebuking or saying no and pushing the guy away.
No.
He admitted to flooring him.
Right.
He knocked him out.
This was
cold.
Yeah. And
it was a different time.
Yeah. Well, somebody had to do it.
Yeah, and it wouldn't have been good for a general authority to solve it that way. But it sounds like he's saying, yeah, but I would have too.
Yeah, exactly. The whole, and the point of this is that this isn't just sort of him saying this to a group of people in passing. This was a planned speech that he gave in front of all of the men
televised
of the church.
Yes, to all the men of the church.
So it's a big deal when a guy says something like that.
So and I'm sure that brought a lot of laughter. A lot of
somebody had to do it.
No.
A lot of laughter, except from all of those very quiet gay men in the audience going, "Holy shit!"
No, they were laughing the loudest.
Oh yeah, that's true. They were the ones. That
Oh, Packer.
Oh, yeah, you hit him is what you do. That's the thing. You definitely. I would hit him.
I have hit him.
I have. I hit two guys just because they reminded me of a gay guy once. That's how I am. This guy has a long and storied history of really hateful homophobic stuff.
Yeah.
And some lovely racism thrown in there. In that year, the same year, 77.
Oh, a good year.
He gave a talk
for a Packer.
where he said, quote, "We have always counseled in the church." Sorry, I'll do my best. Palpatine. We decided earlier that his voice was a combination of Emperor Palpatine and Harvey Fierstein.
So do that.
He's got like this sort of gay, raspy sort of thing happening. "We've always counseled in the church for our Mexican members to marry Mexicans, our Japanese members to marry Japanese, our Caucasians to marry Caucasians, our Polynesian members to marry Polynesians. The council has been wise.
Our Scottish to marry Scottish. The Irish should stay with the Irish.
If you're British, who knows? You could maybe marry a French. I'm not sure about that. That's a little sketchy.
Dicey. Definitely the Dutch, though.
Don't stay away from the Dutch. Nobody marries the Dutch. Not even the Dutch can marry the Dutch. We stopped sending them missionaries. We don't like them. Yeah. So.
Wow. So he was still advocating that position.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Yeah. I mean, this was really important to him. He talks about. He has always.
On what grounds? Like, why?
Because then everybody will be more comfortable
and colorful
and less colorful, or it will preserve the colors.
Preserve the spectrum.
We'll get all of these.
We don't want a dull gray in the middle,
right? Yeah. This is just a guy. Yeah, he's not someone who minced his words. As a matter of fact, there are some very famous moments where he would give a talk at General Conference. Mm-hmm. There was one I know in 2010 where he gave a talk in conference and basically said, "Look, being gay is not inherent to you." He said, this is not something. We know that this is not something that's inherent to you. It's something that you're doing.
Right.
Which was subsequently changed. He said something about tendencies.
Yeah.
Innate tendencies, and later in the published version of the speech, it became magically innate
temptations. Yeah.
So I mean, even the church itself has become uncomfortable with how grumpy Grandpa Packer likes to talk about the queers and about. I mean, yeah, it was a guy who just had the most. He went as far right as he could go, and then took one more step to the right.
Yeah.
Is what we're getting at.
Yeah, he was clearly somebody. I mean, who knows who the various men are in the leadership of the church that are holding it back from progressing.
Yeah.
Clearly the majority of them. But he was
he said
a clear voice.
He said that the worst dangers in modern society, he said, quote, "The dangers I speak of come from the gay lesbian movement, the feminist movement, both of which are relatively new, and the ever-present challenge from the so-called scholars or intellectuals."
Oh, that's right. He was anti-intellectual.
"Our local leaders must deal with all three of them with ever-increasing frequency. In each case, the members who are hurting have the conviction that the church is somehow doing something wrong to members, or that the church is not doing enough for them." This was he insisted that the church was not doing anything wrong ever. Ever.
By definition, it cannot.
It can't. It's the Church of God.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is not new. The whole world is full of people like this, but we just wanted to give you a little glimpse into what Frank and I had to grow up with.
Not most of them don't have the potential to influence so many people.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you have a hateful Baptist leader, it's mostly just a smaller congregation or whatever. But Baptists in general are. All of these things would fit in quite nicely with most Southern Baptists or whatever.
Yeah, they would have.
So I mean, this will feel familiar to plenty of people. But the LDS Church has millions of parishioners, and they all have to listen to this guy.
Who don't really pick and choose the advice that they get over the pulpit.
They're specifically told not to.
Yeah, they. It gets said at General Conference, and that's what you're supposed to be doing.
That's gospel.
Yeah.
So one down. There's still several to go,
and they keep getting more.
Well, yeah, they're always going to replace them, but hopefully, the old guard. And boy, are they old. We're talking 90s, late 80s, 90s.
80s and 90s. Yep.
They're going to continue to die off, and. Hopefully, next we got that Dallin Oaks feller. He's pretty hateful.
He is.
We got another guy. M. Russell Ballard, I believe, is next in line to be the prophet after if this current prophet dies.
Nelson.
Yeah.
You said Ballard.
Oh, Nelson. That's what I meant. Yeah. They're both Russells. It's very confusing. And there's an M with both of them, but Ballard is Russell M. And anyway, one of these guys I know was one of the ones who, during the Prop 8 thing, was very clear, was sort of the proponent in the church, the mouthpiece of the church that kept saying marriage is between, we in this church believe that marriage is between one man and one woman. And at the moment he was saying that, he knew full well that by their theology, he was married to two women.
I think that's...
Nelson.
Nelson? I don't know.
Anyway.
No, that was Oaks.
No.
Wasn't Oaks?
No. Anyway, the point is...
No.
He wasn't actually married to two living women, but by Mormon theology, his first wife had died, he had remarried, and in Mormon theology, when a man does that, he can stay sealed for time and all eternity to both women.
Right. So
he was spiritually polygamist.
Yes.
And there's no bones made about that.
No, it's...
But he was very...
It's all set up to work.
He kept hollering about one man, one woman, and I just kept thinking, well, what about you?
Right.
Why doesn't that apply to you?
Legally, on this earth,
right.
One at a time.
One at a time. Now we believe that. Yeah. Before, we may have been pioneers
Now,
in the whole.
Grandpappy.
Right, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Of course, my mother was only one of many wives that was, whatever. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of irony.
Yeah.
So let's move on. Thank you all for listening to us prattle about this guy.
Yeah.
We have an announcement that we need to make to you guys.
Yeah, we do.
Our show, this little podcast you're listening to, even as we speak, has been nominated for, or is a finalist for a very big award.
Yeah.
The Academy of Podcasters,
Yes.
has started just this year to give out awards in podcasting for podcasting excellence. This is in association with the Podcast Movement Convention, and Stitcher
Right.
has been working with them to comb the bazillions of podcasts that there are in the world, and we were singled out as a finalist in our category.
Yes.
For this award.
Very exciting.
It is very exciting. It's something that we're very, very proud of, and we would like to go to Fort Worth, Texas, to be there for the awards ceremony.
And the little convention.
And go to the podcasting convention and meet other podcasters and figure out ways that we can improve this show and make it better for you. Yeah. We could use your help with that endeavor. Mm-hmm. So what we're going to do, we're going to throw a new donate button up on the Thank God I'm Atheist webpage.
Yes.
And that's going to be for you to just help, just one-time donations. If you can help make it possible for us to go out there and be there for this historic event.
Yeah,
we would really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, we figure it's about for both of us to go. It's about a $2,000 price tag.
Yeah, so I mean, if all of you guys, if
there's
everybody
airfare, there's
chips in, just $5 or $10. Well, maybe more because not everybody's going to chip in. If everybody chipped in, we'd be there. You could chip in, pennies.
Yeah,
and we'd get there. But you're not all going to chip in. So if whatever you can give to help us get there would be very, very appreciated. Just go to thankgodimatheist.com, find that button that says help Frank and Dan get to Texas or the awards, or I don't know what it's going to say because I haven't actually put it up there yet.
Yeah, at the time of recording, but by the time you're hearing this,
it'll be there.
It'll be there.
So.
All right. Well, and then also our Joyride donors.
Yes.
Well, our $15 a month donors, because that's what we've decided it is. But we've been running this campaign on Joyride, where at the $15 a month level, supposedly, up until now,
we made a promise.
We made a promise that we would do a monthly Google Hangout.
Yeah.
With anybody who's at that level. And we've done it a couple times, and it's been great.
It's fantastic.
But
we're big fat douchebags and keep not scheduling it.
And rather than give you excuses for our lameness, we're just going to set up a system that going forward, we're all just going to know when we're going to do it.
Right.
And so what we're saying is the last Monday of any month.
Last Monday of the month.
At 7 p.m. Mountain Time.
So that's
6 Pacific, 8 Central, 9 on the East Coast.
Right.
In the United States. If you're someplace else, you're going to have to figure it out yourself.
Yeah.
And if you're in Arizona, you're going to have to figure it out yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
But
that's when it's going to be.
That's when we're going to do it.
And it's a set thing now, so we're not going to miss any more. We deeply, deeply apologize for missing the ones that we've
We're good
missed.
at things once it gets on our calendar. It's sometimes getting things onto the calendar.
That's the problem.
That becomes the issue.
Yeah.
So we're going to be doing that. Our deepest apologies to anybody to the donors that we have not kept this bargain up for.
Now, if you want to be part of this hangout, now that it's on the schedule, it's going to happen.
Yeah,
you can do it too. Go to Facebook or go to thankgodimatheist.com.
Yes,
and click on the Joyride button. There's still plenty of slots for you. You can click on that $15 a month level and donate and help us reach our goals as a podcast, and then also meet with us face to face via the magic of the internet. And ask us uncomfortable questions and we'll answer or whatever you want to do. So there's that. Please join us for the Joyride thing.
Yes.
It's all you're doing is helping us to make the show better.
Absolutely.
Thank you to Mackenzie for working on our Facebook page.
Yeah.
So much. And it's such an amazing job she does.
Yeah, and if you'd like to, join the conversation,
sure,
you can always do so on that Facebook page that she runs for us, facebook.com/TGIAtheist.
Right. You can email us again at podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or you can leave us a voicemail message, 424-666-8442.
Right. Go try the Members Only Lounge out. That's on Facebook too, but you have to type it TGIA Members Only Lounge into the search section, and then you'll find us.
Yeah, and request to join it.
Yeah.
All right, and then also thank you to the Red Rock Hot Club for letting us use their music.
Their fine music. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, for all of your interaction with us and for listening to our little program.
Bye.